Hey, Victoria, thank you so much for taking out the time to share your experience of the 8-week sales mastery course with others that may be considering enrolling in our 8-week sales mastery course. So I'd love it if you could share where you're located in the country and also what does your firm specialize in?
Yeah, so I am in Boston, Massachusetts, and my firm specializes in bookkeeping for small businesses, mostly small service businesses.
Awesome. Cool. So what were you most frustrated with before joining the Abundant Accountant and enrolling in our 8-week sales mastery course? What were
Oh
you most
gosh,
frustrated with in your
that's
firm?
a lot, right?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of my frustration came around just being overwhelmed with clients. The clients in general that I was taking on were not necessarily my ideal client. I'm one of those people that feels bad for everybody and wants to take on everyone. And I take in all the little puppies around the street and want to help everyone and not necessarily charge appropriately. Right.
Right.
So I was kind of swimming and drowning in work and not being compensated well for it.
Mhm.
Um, and that was extremely frustrating and extremely overwhelming. And I kind of felt like I was drowning.
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing.
And
Yeah.
so being that you were frustrated, you're drowning, you taking on anybody and anybody, like you said, you'd take all the dogs on a walk at the same time in your neighborhood.
Yes.
When was the moment you decided to do something about it and that you realized you really didn't have a sales process and you had a major sales problem?
So I think the thing that I'm an avid podcast listener,
Ah,
Michelle. I love listening to podcasts. I love even when I'm working, I usually have something going on in my ear. And at one point I was suggested your podcast and I started listening and just listening to how everyone who had gone through your program felt just that ease and that they had a process that they could follow and there was so much less stress
yeah.
and they had that idea of what their ideal client was and they set those boundaries and they just
Mhm.
seemed so excited about it. It just piqued my interest. So it took me a little while to reach out. I don't know exactly what the tipping point was.
Okay.
I think I think we've talked before about there's a lot going on in my family, and I had a lot that I was dealing with in general with little kids and whatnot. Um, and I think that the work got to be a lot. And I was listening to one of your podcasts one day, and I was just like, I'm going to try this out. It was just that kind of thing like there's something needs to be done.
Right.
Because if I continue along this path, my stress levels are going to be number one off the charts. And then I'm not going to like the reason I started my business was to be able to help my family. And if
Right.
it
And
gets
in
to the point,
return, it was actually doing the opposite for you.
yes, the stress for me was just too much. Yeah,
Right.
definitely.
So I'm curious, Victoria, did you try any other solutions before listening to the podcast and then booking that call that
Yeah.
day and reaching out? Like,
So
what did you try that just never worked?
So one thing that I did try is that instead of being on my own in my own bookkeeping business, I actually ended up joining a franchise, which I love.
Mhm.
And that really helped. So in doing that, I attempted, I attempted to get rid of some of the clients by
Yeah.
raising fees, which my franchise was very helpful with helping me to raise fees. I didn't do that enough because I kept everyone.
Yeah.
Right. So obviously, even in raising those prices, it
It
wasn't
didn't work
enough.
enough.
It wasn't enough, right? And I realize now that I even should have charged more, and I probably would have gotten rid of those clients that again glom onto you because they
Yeah.
know they're getting a good deal, and you're doing a lot of work for very little. Even though it's still more
Yeah.
now than what
Yeah.
it was. I do know that I need to roll out those, more price increases, and your program has definitely given me the you know, the means to do that, I believe. Yeah.
Love it. So I know you listen to the podcast, you are part of a franchise, that kind of work, but it still wasn't where you were at. You're completely stressed. You started this business to give yourself more time and freedom, and then you
Yeah.
found me, right?
Yes.
So you found the Abundant Accountant. Someone told you listen to the Abundant Accountant podcast. But what were your initial skepticisms or fears that you had before you decided to book the phone call and enroll in our 8-week sales mastery course? What were those hesitations that you had that some other firm owners who might be watching this might have those same fears that you had back then?
I don't know. I guess I just had the fear that it wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
You know, you always just have that fear that it's just not going to work, even though it worked for somebody else, it just might not work for me. That was just one fear. The other fear is the cost. Like, how am I going to do that? But I think that the cost in general is way more if I don't change. So,
Well, what
you
was
know,
the cost that it was costing you to not
it's,
change?
yeah, at stress, lots of hours wasted in
Yeah.
terms of, I had no sales process, right?
Right.
So when you have no sales process and there's no step by step, I'm a step by step person, and I tried to build one myself.
Yes.
It was not effective, right? And now I do definitely have an effective sales process that I could go to and follow, and it saves me time and it saves me stress. Like, I don't have that stress anymore, and it's just done.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So, how have you seen the success that you've created in the 8-week sales mastery course in just an 8-week period, built with our program and with our support, has helped change the trajectory of the future of your firm? How have you
Yeah.
seen the shift?
The biggest shift is that I don't take on certain clients, and I can say no, and I can say no in a kind way.
Yeah.
But I have set those boundaries, and that's the biggest thing for me, is setting the boundaries, because with everything going on in my life, I don't need to add more stress. And even though I do want to help those people, it can't
How
help
do you feel?
everybody.
Like, how do you feel now overall,
Relief,
Victoria?
right? It's
Relief?
relief.
Okay.
It's relief. It's like somebody giving you the permission
Yeah.
to take control. And that's
Love
what
it.
I needed, was just somebody to give me that permission for whatever reason. You know, I just
So,
needed that little push.
no, and I love that you feel relieved and that you're like way more chill now and hopefully much less stress, right?
Yes.
What would you share with another firm owner who's really serious about making these changes? They don't want to keep going on the same way they've been doing things for years. They want to increase their fees. They're completely terrified they're going to lose all their clients. What would you tell Victoria 2 months ago, 3 months ago, or even 6 months ago, the first time you heard the podcast, and then you said it took a while to reach
Yeah.
out? What would you share with another firm owner now that you've been through the 8-week sales mastery course that you wish you would have saw in one of these videos?
Just do it. Just take the leap and do it. You're going to get so much back. The calls in general are amazing, and you get to meet with other bookkeepers and accountants in the same position as yourself. You see a lot of their success as well. It's a great, even just the Facebook group is such a great cheerleading squad, helping each other out. It's a community. I just say, just do it. It's worth it. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you. And what have been some of your biggest successes and wins in just the short amount of time that you've been here?
Yeah. So honestly, just the biggest one. Like I said, I think I did subconsciously shut off the tap when it comes to leads right now, just because of everything going on in the family.
Yeah.
But just saying no, even to those ones that have been coming in that aren't the right fit.
Yeah.
I identify right away that it's not the right fit, and I don't just bring them on just to help them, because it doesn't help me if I just try to help everybody. That's the biggest thing, is setting those boundaries and making sure that I'm not, keeping all that going. It's just not good for me.
I love that so much. Well, thank you, Victoria, so much for sharing your experience with myself and others who might be considering enrolling in the 8-week sales mastery course. Is there anything else that you want to share, that what you love best about the program, about working with me and my team, for anyone else that might be on the fence or might be just completely terrified, like, they're in your boat where you were? Will this work for me? The investment's a lot, the time investment's a lot. Like, I just don't know. And you're basically, like you're saying, taking the leap of faith and stepping into the unknown. So with that being
Right.
said, is there anything else that you would love to share that you love best about the program, that you wish you would have maybe heard in a video before, that you feel would be helpful for another firm owner that might be watching this?
No, and I think I knew it was going to be a lot of work, but it is a lot of work. But all of that work is very intentional and way worth it. Take the time, go through the exercises, take the extra time if needed. Your feedback was so amazing, and the feedback from your team. Like I said, just do it. It's you have way more to lose than you have, if you just do. There's so much you can gain from the course. Peace of mind, a whole different trajectory in your business.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Mhm.
So you have peace of mind now, you have relief.
And I know where my business is going. I have a
You
clear
have a
plan.
path, right?
Mhm.
Love it. Well, thank you again so much for taking the time, and it's been an honor to watch your growth, and I can't wait to see what else you have once you turn on the lead funnel again and get those leads coming in and now using your new process. So thank you,
Thank
Victoria.
you so much, Michelle.